Welcome everybody to the next episode of KapVista Klips. Today we have Nicole and Rick from Shazamme. We were going to understand, who they are and what they're about, and what the outlook is for the industry that they're playing in. So welcome, guys.
Hi, Daniel. Thanks for having us.
That's okay.
Glad to be with you.
That's okay. So I think we'll get started and tell us the story. How did you get to this point here? What have you done? What's your background look like, and how do you get to this point, and how do you get to starting Shazamme?
Good question. So I personally have spent many years in recruitment marketing, technology, in essence, for advertising, and long line of working alongside Rick and in similar business setups. And many of those years passed and we got to where we are today, which is learning a lot about the industry, the tech providers that are in the industry, and sitting back and thinking, how can we do things amazingly different and reimagine marketing for recruitment agencies and start with a blank sheet of paper with all the knowledge and learning from all the industries I've been in present up to today, from an advertising perspective and through to the recruitment industry specifically.
Awesome.
I'll just add my part to that. So yes, 14 odd years ago, we were sort of the pioneers in this space in Australia, and then obviously later globally in 23 countries, 17 languages. But we sort of started this just on the back of the 2008, I think it was 2008 GFC, when we all fell off a cliff and recruitment changed dramatically. Back then, we actually started life as a job board, a commercial job board like your Career Builders or your Seeks, etc. And we had to pivot quite quickly because the Australian landscape was very much, there are 4 players back then. We can only afford one, so we'll support Seek, and everyone else we're going to cut spend with. So we used our technology back then to start to power the biggest recruitment agencies in Australia, like your Chandler McLeod's, your Adecco's, your Kelly's. And that's how, I guess, both Nicole and I started in this space. We pivoted from being a job board to using our technology, which back then was the latest as well, to powering, we got to 1,000 recruitment agencies. And I guess Shazamme then is the reinvention of probably version 4 of that, with absolutely the latest technology that we could find, and addressing all of the questions that we've had over the past 14 years and all of the frustrations that the recruitment agencies and corporates had with the current providers. So, based on what we have today, the feedback has been, yes, we've ticked most of those boxes with Shazamme.
Okay, awesome. So was it always, going to be a tech play? Was it always going to be, where it's at today? And how do you find yourself in the marketing, HR sort of platform sort of space? How does that come about?
It was always going to be a tech play because the current providers, it's very old legacy technology and it's not very evolutionary. So Shazamme has a massive opportunity in the space because with a great technology platform, we can make a huge difference to the industry, and the ease of use and the price points as well for people to be more successful in the space using modern technology where anyone can do it. It's no longer about having people that know coding and paying expensive marketing agencies. It's now there available for anybody. So tech play, it was always going to be over something service-based.
Okay.
Correct.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And we are sort of looking at the volume market as much as the top end of the market. So we know there are 9,000 new recruitment startups in the US alone, and then probably about the same in Europe as well. They all have a need for what we have at a very cost-effective price, which at the moment there is just not available. It's long, it's clunky, it's old technology, And then at the top end, we are now being pulled into the biggest deals you can imagine, talking 65,000 employees with global companies through our partner network who have, I guess, for the first time, seen something new come to this space. So they've worked with the competitors in this space over the past 5 years or so, and they were experiencing the same issues that we knew about, which was old technology, long lead times, expensive, hard to manage, etc. Whereas now they're seeing what we can do, and they're pulling us into the biggest deals you can imagine with global brands. So it's quite exciting that we've got the bottom end for the volume because it's easy, quick, and cost effective, and the top end because it's the technology that's driving that requirement. So it's good to see that one platform can do everything. It's a bit like HubSpot. You can get it for free, but the biggest organizations in the world use it.
Yeah. So we'll touch on more on the team before we understand the going into the solution. So you and Nicole have worked together for a number of years, but who else is involved in the team? And give us a bit of background on their or an insight into their background, and then how did the team all come together?
Good question. So obviously Nicole and myself we've covered. Then we've got Adam Ryan, who's an advisor to the business and sort of chairman of the board. He brings with him a great insight as to one of the largest recruitment job boards, Seek, how they came from the start and how they architected, I guess, their pricing models, their sales strategy into becoming who they are today. So we're getting some interesting and valuable insights into how we should start Shazamme from the ground up, thinking longer term. So that's fantastic. We've got Paula, who's joined us as the VP of Operations to make sure the fulfillment is done as quickly and efficiently as possible. She's got a long-standing background globally in the UK, South Africa, in managing large teams of people that do fulfillment. So very relevant to the business, and she's brought a great perspective as well to certain elements that we haven't had before in the previous businesses Nicole and I were involved in. Then we also have our advisory boards who our investors are on that. So two of our investors are industry veterans here in Australia. They've got a very, very successful business that had 8 brands, and they've just consolidated that to 2, but they have a very good understanding of the industry and can certainly bring a lot of insights into how we should be growing. And they have a number of other SaaS businesses as well in the space. So that's good. And then from the technology, we've partnered with, I guess, third-party managed service providers that are experts at what they do. And with that, we've been able to, through the no-code approach, we've been able to reduce our costs absolutely down to something that I could have only wished in my previous businesses, where we're about 10% of what the cost is that our competitors are running at. And we know that based on obviously being in the industry and what their team sizes are. So we can move faster, we're more agile, and we deliver, I guess, more solutions than we've ever dreamt of. So it's a good position to be in.
Oh, awesome. So, putting my user hat on, help me understand the solution. So let's imagine I'm a customer. Tell me how does it work? What's the benefits? And who's your ideal client?
Good questions. So it's quite a long answer to this one because we do have a few different audiences. As Rick mentioned earlier, we've got the startup recruitment agencies, of which we know there's 9,000 just in the US alone that start up each year. And at the moment, there's nothing that really fulfills that very cost-effective need to have something really great to enter the market with in a recruitment perspective, from a recruitment perspective. So that's a great audience globally. for us. And then really where we fit the technology, the way it's designed, it's as suitable for a startup as it can be for an enterprise client that potentially wants to roll out 100 recruitment websites globally. So everyone is our audience. And then adding to that bucket, we've also got the corporate organizations who want to be more professional at presenting their careers side. We're in a talent short market. It's getting harder and more competitive to find great people. So no matter who you are, you need to be putting your best foot forwards. The minute someone touches your brand, that's an opportunity for you to get those people as talent in your organization. They need to be able to come to your website, easily find you in the first place because you've got great search engine optimization that's relevant. When they get there, they can find jobs easily. And then when they find the job that they like, that they can easily apply. So that's really what our solution provides, is making sure that everyone has the perfect experience from the front end perspective, the website, but also that behind the scenes, the recruiters who aren't all experts at recruitment marketing have tools that are very, very seamless and easy to use, so that they can do things themselves without needing experts to deal with the technology side of things. And it's the same for recruitment companies through to the corporate HR teams as well.
Awesome. So it's an all-in-one solution, for a small enterprise, a large enterprise, to be able to connect to the right talent.
Correct. Yep. So we're providing the website technology to drive that brand forward and be really a marketing machine for their brand.
Awesome. All right. So you've touched on the clients, but who else do you partner with, and what's the industry look like?
Yeah, I'll take that one. So it is actually a very small industry as such, and I guess Nicole and I have had the luxury of knowing people for a long time and who the players are. So sort of they fit into a couple of buckets. You've got your applicant tracking systems and multi-posters. I'll throw a few names in there that may resonate with people, but you've got your smart recruiters who are very innovative and agile applicant tracking system. So that's the back-end database of how to manage your candidates and clients, etc. So we sit in front of them. They're a partner of ours that are now, as I mentioned before, putting us into a lot of deals because they have a need that we fill, and it's helping them convert clients. So they're sort of, the one bucket is applicant tracking systems and multi-posters, and we have now pretty much partnered with every one globally that we see matters and are the leaders in this space. So your bullhorns, that's the biggest in the recruitment space, whereas Smart Recruiters is in the corporate space. And we've got JobAdder, we've got Broadbean, we've got Vincere, like all the ones that are making noise and are progressing globally. They're the ones we partner with. So that's one bucket. The other bucket is your ancillary players, like your Indeed, your Seeks, your LinkedIn's, etc. So players that are in the space and provide a valuable reason to partner with. So we're also partnering with them. And then there's a whole another bucket of people that have been doing this for years and years and years that have brand names that people understand in the industry. So we're partnering with them as well to bring our solution to the broader market. So people that fall into that bucket, for example, are Hung Lee, who's he's got 15,000 followers that read his newsletters regularly and is a well-known player in this space globally. We've got Bill Borman, we've got Kevin Wheeler, we've got all sorts of people that we're working with and are in touch with to promote what we do to the broader audience so that people benefit from having a better solution. Did I miss any partners sort of?
Yeah, I was actually going to add, I think that the big one, because we've been doing this for such a long time, we've built up contacts globally, and for whatever reason, they all really like us, so they're there to help. So we're getting a lot of opportunities from the associations, of which there's quite a lot of industry associations across the globe for staffing, recruitment, and HR. So, when we look at the associations in Australia, it's the RCSA is one of the leaders. The NPA is another one where there's lots of the recruitment agencies are part of these associations. And in the US, there's large groups as well. So through them, there's some very good opportunities for channel opportunities for sure.
Okay, awesome. So, it sounds like you've come a long way. What are sort of the milestones you've achieved?
Good. Yeah. So we've pushed 14 years of development and technology into 6 or so months, and that's been able to achieve because we are starting with a blank sheet of paper. Before we started, I spent probably 3 to 6 months researching globally what technologies are now out there and who's doing what, and really architected what we have today, which has proven, again, as I said before, not through us saying it, but our clients that have actually are using the platform are saying this is just miles ahead, 2 to 3 years ahead of any of the competitors in the space. And that's now coming from all angles, from our partners, from our prospects, from our clients, from industry people that I mentioned, Hung Lee, like everybody's saying the same thing. So that's obviously a resounding validation of what we've achieved in such a short time. And we're only moving ahead every single day. There's new things that we're coming to market with. So the one that we are about to launch is our self-service model, which really will validate it at a scale, which is people that are startup can go online, put their credit card up, buy the solution, and everything in there is taking them through a process of setting their brand up. And theoretically, if they knew somewhat what they're doing, they could have a site up and running in half a day to a day. If they took a bit longer, it's probably a couple of days with our videos and tutorials. So it is totally changing the industry, because all the competitors, they take months and months and months and tens of thousands of dollars. So it's a big shift.
Okay, awesome. So you said your people are saying that you're 2 to 3 years ahead of your clientele. Now, this might be a bit of your secret sauce, but where do you see the industry going in the next sort of 5 years? Where do you think that that the HR marketing, sort of HR tech industries, where do you think it's going to go?
I'll let you take that one, Nick.
Yeah, look, Rick, it's probably one for both of us, really. But what we're seeing is it's now all about the integrations. We've always spoken about best of breed technologies, and no one can do every piece of this puzzle, because there's a lot of platforms out there that provide really great offerings. And at the end of the day, you've got to be the best at what you do. And then with the latest technologies, the integration is so pivotal that you integrate like you are one tech platform, even though there may be 4 in the puzzle. I think what we're going to definitely start to see is that the companies who don't adapt, being the technology providers that don't adapt and adopt modern practices and open APIs and modern technology, they're going to start to disappear. Same as recruitment agencies. If they don't start becoming more technologists to understand how things work together and investing a bit more time in that, I think it's going to be some interesting changes in that industry, as well as with corporates and companies that don't embrace latest tech. But I see people will be pushing the AI side of things to keep moving things along there, but it'll really be about those integrations and everything talking together from my perspective.
Okay, so how does that from the let's say from the end user, the applicant, to the company, how does that change from their point of view?
Yeah, so I think what the industry has long suffering is candidates at all levels are saying they don't have enough communication and understand where they are in the process. They might submit an application, they never hear back. It's all clunky and not easy, and some of the older legacy systems that Nicole mentioned, you have to register and it takes 10 minutes to do an application, and so that's the hurdle to apply. So all of those things will slowly disappear, I think, because what the obstacle was for communication was not that people don't want to let candidates know that they haven't been successful, but it was just the technology, all the pieces weren't put together. So whereas now a lot of the systems that we're working with, and we're doing this as well, the automation is now stock standard. You can just go and get your automations off the shelf and say, okay, if somebody has moved from this step to this step, send them this email and thank them if they move from this step to this step. You would think that is a normal thing, but in this industry, the HR tech industry or the HR industry, it hasn't been the norm. And that's probably the biggest complaint of every conference that we've been to in the last 14 years. Candidate resentment, candidates not happy, candidates don't like working with recruiters because they never let them know where they are. And I guess one of the things that we'll see is that all of the AI and automation and chatbots will actually facilitate this to be a much easier thing for candidates to be kept across where they are in the process.
So you've touched on some of the pain points by the candidates, but are there any other pain points experienced by your clients and people that you're working with, and then how are you trying to address those?
Yeah, that's a good one. I'll take that, Rick, and then you can jump in. So for us, the clients face a lot of the things that are all repercussions from what Rick was just mentioning, which is, antiquated older technology platforms that don't integrate properly. So everything that's happening on their website, nothing is integrated through into the ATS properly. The candidate has a bad experience because they find it very difficult to apply for jobs. A lot of times that may be on a mobile device. So, you need to fix that as quickly as you possibly can to make it, being able to create a landing page because you need Christmas casuals to find jobs with you. You need to be able to do these things very quickly and seamlessly. Otherwise, you're going to miss opportunities. And that's, with the technology we've got, we give the either HR person or the recruiter all the tools they need to be able to easily meld, create, design, change, add features and functionality to their front-end website platforms really quickly and easily. And probably on that, we may touch on it, but the support that we give as well is instant. So everything we're doing is chat support. We want to make sure that if you've got a question, it's answered really, really quickly so that you can keep going with what it was you were doing. So we're there to help. Okay.
So we can see you're passionate about the space and passionate about the industry. What gets you excited about it? Why HR tech? Why recruitment? What's your driver behind it?
Well, for me, this is a multi-billion-dollar industry that we're playing in here, and it fuels the world. I mean, at the end of the day, the people who are in jobs are what drives companies forward. So it's not going away. It's only getting more and more competitive, which means what we offer makes that whole process more seamless for the person either looking for the talent, whether they're a recruiter or a corporate. And by being able to provide tools that honestly do give them something that's going to make it so much easier than they've ever had it before to be able to do the things we just mentioned, create landing pages, create a great candidate experience, integrate their technology platforms so that it's now seamless and not, I'm going to use my favorite word, discombobulated. That's all really, that makes me excited. And speaking to people that we're actually helping and hearing the feedback, as Rick said earlier, from the industry about, they're blown away by what Shazamme can do from the front end perspective, that enhances everything that they're doing through to the ATS platforms. And then also for the remarketing that goes on after that journey, we form this beautiful ecosystem and we're that front of funnel. So it's great to see that the clients are just loving it and the partners are loving it and the candidates are having a better experience.
Yeah, I know from my experience, applying for roles, those speed humps where if you apply for a role, each role, it takes 10 minutes to fill in the application, and you're filling in the same questions, and it's very repetitive. That was a pain point. And then from a employer side of things, it is a very time-consuming process to find the right candidates, and it is a full-time role, and it takes your focus away from what you're doing. So streamlining that, putting processes in place, having the systems and the technology in place is valuable. And I've experienced it from both of those angles. So I understand that there needs to change. And for me, being potentially one of the customers and being in the industry, I see the change that needs to happen.
Great.
So let's get to the interesting point, the raise. How much you're looking to raise? What's it being used for?
So we're raising 1 million Australian dollars, and that is going to be used primarily for not building tech to then sell, because we've already built that and we've got customers on it. We are using it to grow our brand globally. So awareness, digital outreach, very small amount for enhancements, and I guess taking on a few more features that we know will resonate well, but predominantly will be for scaling globally, and getting our fulfillment teams ready to take on that scale.
Okay. And in terms of the raise, what's the momentum you've had so far?
So we have already raised money outside this particular $1 million. So we've raised 250,000 Australian dollars. The latest came from, as I mentioned, the industry veterans. They put in 150,000, and then we've had previously 2 other parties put in 50 that were obviously the very early seed investors. That's
okay.
where we are.
And in terms of the round and the offer, what would you classify your raise as? Is it seed? Is it Series A? What is it?
Look, it's probably Series A, because we've done the seed 250, but it's Series A.
Okay. And does that $1 million get you on that international level? Is that what it's being used for, and growth on an
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. So our budget indicates, and our forecasts indicate that this will really propel us globally, because what it means is that we can obviously go across the time zones. At the moment, we've already got US clients, we've got people in EMEA, we've got Australian, Hong Kong, we've got clients all over the world, and we're servicing them. But I guess if we're going to scale, we need people in those time zones to service the clients with support and obviously sales at the enterprise level. That's really what that's going to be used for.
Okay. And is the company registered in Australia? Are you looking at domiciling it in the US or in Europe?
Yeah. So we actually have a US company, an LLC company, and an Australian company. The Australian company owns the US company 100%. And that's sort of the structure we have at the moment. Ultimately, we could list on NASDAQ, we could list in Australia. For us, we really want to focus the next 18 months on getting our partnerships, our operational level, our run rate up. We want to get our self-service up. We really want to build the machine that's going to drive us forward.
Okay, perfect. And this might be an interesting one, but what's your ideal investor? What does it look like?
Look, there's obviously a lot of different ideal investors. The ideal investor would be someone that has a passion for HR tech or tech alone, that understands the challenges that companies like ourselves face, and possibly they've been through it themselves, where they know that if you've got a great product, that's one thing, but you need to then have the ability to scale and move faster and have a formula that is self-fulfilling, so that, you know, every dollar that you make, you put back in and you get an incremental return on that. So someone who really values and understands that would be the ideal.
Okay, perfect.
Nicole, did you want to add anything to that?
No, I was just going, look, at the end of the day, you know, it's a great opportunity regardless of who the person is. But if they do come to the table with know-how and expertise, you know, that's always wonderful as well, because they may be able to add some great value too.
Okay, awesome. Well, I think that's all we have time for. But thanks, guys, for jumping on. It's been great to chat. It gives us a really good insight into what you're doing and the focus and drivers. I think it is a very much a global play, and as you said, you're set up and you've got international clients already. I think this is an opportunity for someone who has experienced those pain points, who understands, like myself, who's been in those situations and wants to invest in changing the industry and changing the way things going. It also might be a really good opportunity for someone who is involved at a high level with these large corporations, who can see the benefits of what you're doing, who may want to get involved with yourself as an investor, and then integrate what you're doing into their portfolio companies and their associated companies. So it could be a really good opportunity. But what I'll do is, if anybody who's any of the audience have any questions or want to know more from Rick and Nicole, I'll put my details there, and we'll link it in all of our documentation. So if you're interested, we can then connect you to the team, and you can have an in-depth conversation. But thanks for jumping on this episode with us, guys, and it's been great chatting.
Fantastic.
Thanks so much.
Pleasure.
Thanks, guys.
Have a good day.
Cheers. Bye. Bye.